Oh, Bing? Bing, naririnig mo ba ako? Choppy.
Ayun.
Okay.
Actually, I've been with Santé for almost 11 years already. And it's you can consider it a long-term relationship or a marriage. The product is in line with the lifestyle of the owner and the company. And that's my lifestyle as well. I believe in prevention. I believe in maintaining my health and making my immune system as strong as I can. And Sante Barley is a perfect supplement to having a strong immune system. I have an emotional attachment to the brand and to the company. I was with them when the company was starting out. And now that the company has grown so much and has become so successful, to still be part of the company at this point, ang attachment emotional eh. So I've become friends with the owners. I've become friends with a lot of the people involved in the company, running the company with Sante Barley. This is Kuya Kim. Let's live more and do more with Sante.
It's a new day to challenge yourself. Take courage and be of service to others. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. Take confidence and give more than what's expected. And to take on these challenges, I take Daily C. It's a non-acidic vitamin C, so you can take it every day, giving you extra immunity and protection as you take your daily challenges. So don't take my word for it. Take on every day with Daily C.
Are you the one who wants to make the right choice? Afraid of making mistakes? Are you the one who made a false move? That confused one who chose the wrong career? Or the one who took the wrong path? Are you the one who always worries? The one who wants a healthy mind and body? Or the one who wants to transform his life? Our choices, whether good or bad, make us human. Once we see and move past our mistakes, we will realize that we can still choose better. We just need to ask the right questions, do it for the right reasons, have the right motivation, towards the right destination. We did not slow down. We are still on track, advancing towards where we're meant to be, making the life we want for ourselves and for our future. Transform your life with the right strategy, the right plan, and the right system. Introducing Sante. Create more moments. Make more memories. Forge your own legacy. A legacy of creating more of the life you want. Let Sante show you how you can plan the life you want. Create the life you want.
Hello. Good evening, everybody. So, ako ang inyong host for tonight. I'll be the moderator. Okay, so for tonight, meron tayong very, very special topic. Pero bago ang lahat, I'm welcoming everyone, all our partners, Santé partners, our elite group, our Hall of Famers, no? Hindi ko kayo mamimension lahat. And of course, good evening, Sir Paul. I know you're there. Our Managing Director for the Philippine Operations, Sir Paul. Maraming salamat for this opportunity, no, na talagang nabibigyan tayo ng chance na makapag-invite ng mga special person, no, special resource person, might be one of the directors or anyone na talagang magsuscoop sa mga topics na iniisip namin para sa inyo. Okay? For tonight, sabi ko nga, this is a very, very special topic. No? I have invited one of the board of directors na makapag-talk naman siya at makapag-share. Okay? Kasi usually nag-share siya ng mga leadership trainings, no, at programs. Pero tonight will be a different training or different talk for her at saka mapapakinggan natin. Okay. To give you an overview, kasi when I asked her na, Ma'am, let's do this kind of talk because I wanted to hear from you and I know our partners are really ready to hear this kind of topic. They are really hungry, no, for, well, everybody naman, no, at alam ko kayong mga partners natin, parati kayo excited. In fact, a while ago, si Miss Vivian, no, Vivian and I were talking, sabi niya, ang gaganda ng mga trainings ng Engage. Maraming salamat. Kasi syempre, gina-guide kami talaga ng aming, ni Sir Paul for that. And then, talagang we really wanted something na very, very special na mapakinggan, na hindi lang mapakinggan at mapupulutan ng aral talaga. And I know, every talk is really different. Like when I do my product trainings talk, minsan kahit paulit-ulit yan, alam ko nandyan pa rin kayo to listen, to learn, because sabi nga ni John Maxwell, di ba, ma'am, sabi niya, make learning your passion, which I really, really appreciate the 100 of you here in Zoom, and I know we're on live in Facebook and YouTube. Hindi kayo talaga nagsasawa sa amin na mapakinggan kami. Okay, so to give you an overview on what will the talk be about, I have my objectives. So first is to glorify God, whoever your God is, by promoting a deeper understanding of His marvelous providence in creating Barbie. As it was mentioned in the Bible 37 times. Nakakatuwa yung ibang partners natin. Alam yung mga 37 verses na na-mention yung word na barley, no? Kudos sa inyong lahat. My objective is to stir up in the hearts of our Santé partners, no, and our business owners, the desire to be true in our mission, which is to help people live better lives. Paulit-ulit natin yung naririnig sa akin, naririnig ko sa inyo. But I want it really na talagang ito na yung mission natin talaga. Palaganapin natin ang mission natin. And third is to give hope. To give hope might be in the products, might be in their health condition, and of course sa business na ino-offer natin sa kanila. That's why we are really asking you to be a partner with us, no? Kasi maraming ino-offer si Santé. So, maraming i-share ang ating speaker. Allow me to read some of her short profile. She is a registered nurse, a magna cum laude. Proud na proud ako pag binabanggit ko yan. Parang ako yung magna cum laude. A registered nurse, a project management consultant before, no? A certified John Maxwell speaker, coach, and trainer who boasts 20 years or more in the marketing experience in sales, operations, and network marketing. Our mother, my friend, a good friend, our Chief Product Officer. Let's all welcome Miss Minette Karan. Hi, Ate.
Meron pa talagang applause, no? Virtual applause. Thank you very much, Bing. Welcome to everyone. And I hope meron kayong mapulot na aral na may dadagdag. As a person who is, I'm a faith person, so I will be discussing about the spiritual roots of barley. Mostly, yung lagi nyo kasing binabanggit, yung 37 verses from the Bible, no? Pero hindi ko didiscussing lahat yon. Meron lang ako mga some points that I would like to share with you. So I will start screen sharing with Bing.
Yes, ma'am. You can do your screen share. Yes.
Okay, are you seeing my screen already?
Yes.
Okay. So let me start. I'm very proud of the company. Whenever we talk of the spiritual background behind our product, and so para hindi na tayo nahuhula kung ano ba talaga pinanggagalingan nun, I'm going to discuss a bit, and I hope you will be able to use it. You are free if you want to use the slides that I prepared here. Being kung kailangan, I can send it to you, and then you can post it somewhere. Share it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so nung dinidiscuss sa akin to ni Bing, sabi niya, ano ba talaga gusto mong discussing ko? So I had to go back to the Bible. I'm sorry I cannot discuss this from the point of view of the Quran because I'm not really very well versed sa Quran, pero I can share with you about how barley is rooted in the Word of God, or what we call the Bible. So let me discuss with you the spiritual roots of barley. So ano ba yung pinanggalingan ng grass? Because barley is a grass. In Genesis 1, verses 11 to 12, ito yung mga verses. Then God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the earth, and it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, the herb that yields seed according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, whose seed is in itself according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. Genesis 1, 11 to 12. If you go to the Bible, ito is, ang description dito, nangyari ito nung third day of creation. Okay? So, bakit kinreate ni God yung grass? So, this is found in Genesis 1:29, the purpose of grass. And God said, see, I have given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of all the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed, to you it shall be for food. So that's from the New King James Version of the Bible. But in the King James Version, it said, to you it shall be for meat, carne. Okay? So the purpose of grass, which is the first living thing created, its purpose is as food. Okay? So hindi tayo gugutumin. So yun yung unang na-create. So yan ay picture ng ating barley farm. So hindi naman yan kasing tanda ng Genesis. Pero from the Bible, it was the first living thing that was created. So grass, damo. Okay? So that's the purpose of grass. Now let me quote from this book, This World of Wonder, written by Harold Borland. This came from a book written, entitled ng book na yun is the topic that we have today, the spiritual roots of barley. And let me quote from the book. Sabi rito, we are more dependent on grass than on any other species of plant life. We could live without trees. We could do without the beautiful flowering plants, but without grass, we would starve. We would have neither bread nor meat. So, gutom tayo pag walang grass. All cereal grains are grasses. So, barley is a cereal grain. Wheat is a cereal grain, pero mamaya makikita nyo na merong ibang primacy ang barley grass. So, all our cereal grains are grasses. All our meat animals eat grass in some form. Grass also anchors the earth's soil against erosion and helps check floods. Grass cools the earth and the air and is constantly renewing the oxygen in the air we breathe. So if you look at grass, it's a plant, but it's converted as meat by everyone who eats it. Grass grows almost everywhere except in the deepest woodland and the driest desert. It flourishes wherever there is soil and moisture and a few weeks of summer warmth. It is so insistent and so efficient in sprouting and growing that it outnumbers all other plants. Kung kayo ay nag-garden, tinatanggal ninyo ang damo, napakahirap niyang patayin, di ba? Na ang grass, kahit na patayin mo siya, nasa ilalim ng lupa, tumutubo pa rin siya. So it's very hardy and it outnumbers all other plants. That's the way that God created it. Nearly all plants are able to renew themselves after being cut or broken off, but grass is outstanding in this ability. Break off or cut one stem and another stem soon grows to take its place. So if you're going to New Zealand, grass is harvested after spring and before winter. So this is a quote taken from Hal Borland's book, This World of Wonder. So this book is already out of print. I think napakatanda na nitong libro na to. Pero hindi naman siguro kasing tanda ng Genesis. Okay? So that's the purpose of grass. Now, puntahan na ngayon natin, ano ba yung barley grass sa Bible? Merong several, as we often say during our orientations, during our trainings, there's 37 mentions of barley grass in the Bible. But I would like to share with you two stories. Two stories later about barley grass na napaka-significant ng pagkabanggit nito. Pero balikan natin yung isa sa unang mention sa kanya sa Leviticus 23 verse 10 to 11. If you have a Bible, you can do your own research, pero this is where it's mentioned. This is a command, Leviticus 23, it is God speaking to Moses. And so, merong commandments that God spoke to Moses, and this is what God said to him. Starting from verse 10, sabi dito, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when you come into the land which I give to you and reap its harvest, then you shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest to the priest. Let me say something about the history of Israel. No? Israel is 5,000 years old already, ang history niya. So, prior to the coming of Jesus Christ, Israel already existed. So, ito was in Leviticus 23. Ito yung commandments. So, God's telling Moses, bring the sheaf of the first fruits. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng first fruits? Kung transliterate mo yan, ibig sabihin unang bunga, hindi ba? So, when the priest, when you bring the first fruits, the priest is to do this. Verse 11, he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord to be accepted on your behalf. On the day after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it. So the barley leaves or this sheaf is used in the temple in the practice of worship. So this is a sheaf of barley. So ito yung mga significance nung binasa natin. The first crop to be harvested is barley. So ang unang-unang grass na tumubo ay barley. And it is the first crop, dun sa cycle ng crops ng Israel, ang unang-unang inaani, o the first crop to be harvested is barley. Ang susunod sa barley ay wheat. So una ang barley. This festival, o yung sinasabi na yung wave offering, no? Or yung pagdadala ng sheaf of barley leaves, this festival that is dedicated the initial part of the barley harvest in March or April. It involved presenting to the Lord a sheaf of barley. It's an expression of gratitude to God for His provision in the harvest. So, itong feast na to sa Israel ay pagpapasalamat dun sa provision ni God. So, first fruits are ang unang ani, unang bunga, also symbolized the dedication of the whole harvest to God and was a pledge of the whole harvest to come. So the first crop to be harvested that is offered as a dedication and a thanksgiving to God is the sheaf of barley. Isang bungkos ng barley, yun lang ang ibig sabihin niyan. Hindi tupa ng barley, hindi sheep. It's sheaf of barley. Okay? So that's clear. Next, grasses in the plan of creation. God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat. So the first food ever created was grass. So ang plano or ang purpose ng grass sa creation ni God is number one, as food. In Psalm 104 verse 14, it says this: He causes the grass to grow for the cattle and vegetation, or in other versions, herb, for the service of man, that he may bring forth food from the earth. So una ay food. Pangalawa, as medicine. In general use, herbs are plants with savory or aromatic properties that are used for flavoring, for medicinal purposes, or for fragrances. So ang dalawang purpose ng grass, bilang pagkain at bilang gamot or medicinal purposes. Now, let me share with you some stories about barley. So I'm sharing this with you, pero I hope you would go to your Bible if you have a Bible. If you don't have a Bible, find one. Nakakabili po niyan sa bookstore. Some stories about barley. I'm going to share with you 2 stories. So the first story is found in Judges 7 verses 12 to 14. This is story of Gideon. Nagkaroon ng breakthrough ang Santé sa growth ng company noong 2011. You remember that when April Boy, si Idol, used barley and he was healed of his prostate cancer. And so in 2012, in the first month of 2012, in January 2012, my pastor talked to me and told me that he had a word for me, and this was the word that he gave me. Itong nasa verses na to, na John 7, 12 to 14. And I would like to share this with you so that you would have a greater understanding of the mission that we have as a company. So I'll begin this. Now the Midianites and Amalekites, all the people of the east, were lying in the valley, as numerous as locusts, and their camels were without number, as the sand by the seashore, in multitude. Sino ba itong Midianites and Amalekites? These are enemies of Israel, and they were going to attack Israel. Okay? And when Gideon had come, there was a man telling a dream to his companion. Napakadami ng kalaban ng Israel, yung Midianites and Amalekites. The way that they're described here is kasing dami ng locusts. I don't know what locusts are in our language. Parang tipaklong tong mga to eh. Locusts, and then they were like sand by the seashore. So that gives you an idea of how many they were. And Gideon was a bit discouraged kasi napakadami nila, napakakonti nila. And God told Gideon, go to the camp and be spies. Okay, ito yan, like a picture here. Sabi ni God, go to the camp of the Amalekites and listen. And this is what he heard. Itong nasa verse 13. When Gideon had come, there was a man telling a dream to his companion. So it was a conversation of the enemies of Israel. And the man's dream was this: I have had a dream. To my surprise, a loaf of barley. So dito na binanggit yung barley. A loaf of barley bread tumbled into the camp of Midian. It came to a tent and struck it so that it fell and overturned, and the tent collapsed. Kumbaga, isang loaf ng tinapay lamang yon na tumama doon sa tent. And when it struck the tent collapsed. So ibig sabihin, it's such a small item, lightweight, pero when it struck the tent fell down. So ano yung significance nun? Ng dream na yon? And then so, yung nagkukwentuhan na yan, his companion answered, yung pinag-uusapan nila ng dream. Sabi niya na, this is nothing else but the sword of Gideon, the son of Joash, a man of Israel. Into his hand, God has delivered Midian and the whole camp. So from the dream, these enemies of Israel were discussing that they are going to be defeated by the nation of Israel. So who's this man Gideon? You can read the story in Judges 6 to 7. And Gideon was a reluctant military and spiritual leader. Ang description ni Gideon sa sarili niya, if you read the story itself, is, I am the weakest man in my tribe. Yun ang tingin niya sa sarili niya. So, he was not a very brave person. In fact, ayaw nga niyang siya ang piliin na leader. So, he was a reluctant leader who delivered Israel from 7 years of oppression by the Midianites. The way that the Midianites would harm Israel was that they would attack by stealing and destroying the harvest, causing the nation to live in poverty and hunger. So God called Gideon to fight this enemy. Even if he was the weakest, si God hindi namimili ng tao. Hinahanap lang niya yung willing. So Gideon was chosen by God. However, when Gideon started, he had 32,000 men. And sabi ni God sa kanya, napakadami ninyo. Pag tinalo ninyo yung kalaban, sasabihin ninyo dahil ang lakas ninyo. So, at God's command, the army of Gideon was reduced from 32,000 to 300. So, sila yung original na 300, hindi si Spartacus. So, ito yung Gideon 300. And they had to face the enemy of 135,000 Midianites. So the Midianites outnumbered Gideon's band by 450 to 1. So if you're going to look at it, parang dun sa dream, it was really like a small loaf of barley against a huge tent. So that's the context. Nevertheless, God gave the victory to Gideon and his dedicated men. So what is the significance of this story? Yung barley, the barley in the dream, the barley loaf was used in the story as the symbol of a warrior. And Gideon's name, even though he was a reluctant leader, even though he looked at himself as a weak person, his name means great warrior. The enemy was too many to number. They were like sand on the seashore or like a horde of locusts. So our enemy today, as Santé, as a company, our enemy today are not physical enemies like Gideon that faced the Midianites. Our enemies today are poverty and sickness, especially during this time of pandemic when a lot of people are so afraid of getting sick. A lot of people have lost their sources of income. This is the enemy that our people face today, and the Santé warrior is called to fight the enemy of poverty and sickness. So I hope you're understanding na ang barley hindi lamang isang nagkataon na produkto natin, kundi talaga this is something that God has entrusted to us. And I remember when my pastor talked to me about this, ang sabi niya sa akin, Ate Minette, matanda ako sa pastor namin, so Ate Minette din ang tawag niya sa akin. Sabi niya, Ate Minette, naniniwala ako na ang barley gagamitin ni God para talaga tulungan ng maraming tao malabanan o makaahon sa kahirapan. So faith is needed to defeat the enemy. When we all started in 2007, after so many difficulties, we had a breakthrough in 2011, and God, I believe it is God's favor that has brought us to where we are today. Okay, so I hope you would go and read that story. So that's the first story. That story is found in the Old Testament. Now, let me share with you another story. You may be familiar with this. It is the feeding of the 5,000. This is found in John chapter 6, verses 1 to 13. Okay lang ba kayo? Okay lang ba kayo?
Yes po.
Okay. 160. Listening attentively. Napakaganda ng history, ma'am. Thank you for sharing that.
Okay, so kanina, yung Gideon 300, ito naman yung the feeding of the 5,000. So this is the story na si Jesus ang pinaka-principal character. After this, Jesus crossed over to the far side of the Sea of Galilee, also known as the Sea of Tiberias. When I visited Israel so many years ago, I think in 2015, I was able to see the Sea of Galilee. It's a very beautiful sea, and Jesus is often mentioned as being on the Sea of Galilee, and the Sea of Galilee is where he walked on water. Okay, so verse 2, a huge crowd kept following him wherever he went because they saw his miraculous signs as he healed the sick. Siyempre, daming fan ni Jesus. Then Jesus climbed the hill and sat down with his disciples around him. And so he began to teach. Then, sabi dito, it was nearly time for the Jewish Passover celebration, which is a feast in Israel. And Jesus soon saw a huge crowd of people coming to look for him. And then turning to Philip, one of his disciples, he asked Philip, where can we buy bread to feed all these people? 5,000 men, okay? And ang sabi rito, he was testing Philip for he already knew what he was going to do. Kung ikaw kaya ang tatanungin ni Jesus, no, paano natin sila pakakainin? Ito, maintindihan niya yung reaction ni Philip sa verse 7. Philip replied, even if we worked for months, we wouldn't have enough money to feed them. Normal reaction, di ba? Then Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, spoke up. There's a young boy here with 5 barley loaves. Okay, note that. The tinapay is barley. 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. But what good is that with this huge crowd? Yung 5,000 dito are 5,000 men. Hindi kasi binibilang yung women and children. So 5,000 men, may 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. By the way, mukhang tilapia yan. Di ba? Yung nakikita niyo ba yung picture? Yung tilapia na yan, is also called St. Peter's fish. So, sabi ni Andrew, meron ditong bata, 5 barley loaves and 2 fish ang dala. What good is that with this huge crowd? And Jesus tells them, tell everyone to sit down. So they all sat down on the grassy slopes. The men alone numbered about 5,000. 5,000 men, so you add women, so merong kang another, let's say another 5,000. So that's a lot of people. Then Jesus took the loaves, gave thanks to God, and distributed them to the people. Afterwards, he did the same with the fish, and they all ate as much as they wanted. So, let's imagine, Jesus is there, the disciples are there, they are all sitting on a hill. Nakita ko ito parang slopey, parang maliliit na hill. Siguro parang mga chocolate hills, parang ganon. Pero it's not really like the chocolate hills. It's not a huge mountain. And so you can see there, all the men are sitting down, and Jesus gives thanks for the bread, and Jesus gives thanks to the fish. Then he gave this to the disciples, and then the disciples started distributing them. And the people all ate as much as they wanted. So sometimes I ask myself, Lord, how did that happen? As he was giving the bread, the bread and the fish were multiplying, hindi na uubos. After everyone was full, Jesus told his disciples, now gather the leftovers so nothing is wasted. Ayaw ng Lord ng waste. So, lahat ay ipunin. So they picked up the pieces and filled 12 baskets with scraps left by the people who had eaten from the 5 barley loaves. So if you look at that, they started with 5 loaves of barley, 2 fish. When after everyone else had eaten, they had 12 baskets left of food. So, points to ponder. Mga pala-isipan sa istorya na to na gusto i-challenge sa inyo. The disciples were faced with a dilemma, and Jesus was teaching them, his disciples, about multiplication. I remember the last time when I shared, ang sinabi ko, the greatest networker of all is Jesus. He started with 12 disciples, but now he has billions of followers around the globe. So ito, pag merong tinuturo si God dito, si Jesus dito, kailangan nakikinig tayo at inaalam kung ano ba talaga. So he's teaching them principles of multiplication. The food that Jesus multiplied are 2 barley loaves and 2 fish. Okay, 2 barley loaves and 2 fish. The person who sacrificed his lunch was just a boy. So walang pinipiling edad. There were 12 baskets full of excess barley bread after everyone had lunch. Now, ito yung things that I want you to think about. Everything you offer to God out of an obedient heart is multiplied. Lahat ng ibinibigay natin is multiplied. So, question, who do you think received the overflow of food? Ano sa palagay nyo? Sino kaya ang nag-uwi ng 12 baskets full? Pag-isipan. Yung bata kaya ang nag-uwi? Yung mga disciples kaya ang nag-uwi? So, application lessons. Malapit na akong matapos. Sandali lang kasi ito, Bing, no?
Yes.
So, application lessons are embrace the vision to help people live better lives. That's what we would like to do. Be a great warrior against poverty and sickness. So, embrace the vision of Santé to help people live, yung mission natin to help people live better lives. And then, ang principle nito, the law of sacrifice. You have to give up, go up. You help enough other people they want, will get what you. I believe that the person who took home the 12 baskets left over would be the boy. Kasi ang principle ng scripture, if you want to look at it, ang sabi ng scripture is give and it will be given to you, pressed down, shaken together, running all over. Or in Tagalog, siksik, liglig, umaapaw. Pag ikaw ay nagbigay, when you this is the law of sacrifice coming from the book of John Maxwell, yung principles of leadership. You have to give up to go up. Some leaders, they don't want to give up anything. Gusto nila lahat pakabig sa kanila. Pero the law of sacrifice says that you have to give up in order to go up. When you plant by giving, you will reap a harvest. If you look at the stories of the leaders inside Santé, they have planted by giving and they are reaping a harvest after many years of planting. So every reward is an overflow of all you have done in giving and investing yourself in others. Money is what you earn when you serve others. Yan ang definition ng money. And it's not about the currency itself, but when you serve more people, then you earn more. Okay, so I hope that you learned something out of this training tonight. And if you have any question, ask Bing. So I am Minat Karag, your Chief Product Officer, and I am forever on grass. Thank you very much from Santé, and thank you very much for your interest being in having me share this. Okay, God bless everyone.
Thank you, Ate Minette. For sure, partners, Santé Business partners, Santé owners, and all, member or not member, I know somehow na-touch namin yung mga puso ninyo because this is the first time I asked Ate Minette to talk about this. And I know na marami talaga tayong natutunan because alam naman natin yan eh. We know the mission, we know that we really want to help, no? Pero always, we want to always be reminded, okay? We always want to be reminded that everything you offer to God out of obedient heart is multiplied. Ang ganda nung na nakuha ko. That's my take home for tonight, Ate Minette. Thank you very much for that. And I know maraming kayong natutunan because this is history, no? Hindi natin pwedeng ibahin ng history. Hindi natin pwedeng ibahin yung mga stories before. So si Ate Minette stated 2 stories na napakaganda, no? And I know you learned a lot from this. I know some of you are really Bible readers, no? Ako nga, hindi pa ako masyado, and I'm really learning. This is what the pandemic has really brought me, no? Na talagang every day, I hear Mass through TV. Ito lang, last year. Pero before, hindi ko talaga siya ginagawa. No, inaano ko lang na every Sunday lang ako nakikinig ng Word of God. Pero now, I see to it, the start of my day, I always open my Bible, read few verses, and that's how really I start. Pero before we end, no, I really wanted this naman to be really very short. Kasi narinig natin si Ate Minette being one of the board of directors. Kasi I know some of you are curious na bakit ba barley ang dinala ni Santé? So it was really God sent, no? Meron talaga tayong purpose. So lahat kayo na almost 200 here in Zoom, we all have a purpose. I have a purpose. You have a purpose. Hindi lang kayo nandito or dinala ng mga naimbitahan to do the business or share. We all have a purpose. And I know one purpose is for us to spread the good news. But before we end, I want to call one person who always helped me also in sharing and spreading the business, in spreading the goodness of barley, no? She is one of our advocate din siya ng barley, no? Kasi graduate yan ng Product Institute. A platinum ED qualifier of all our incentive. Hindi ko na patatagalin. I would like to call Miss Vivian kausapin to share some of your stories or testimonies na nangyari sa'yo dito sa negosyo na to. Hello Vivian, kamusta?
Ayan, mabuti po. Maraming salamat. And again, thank you sa panibagong opportunity no na binigay sa akin ulit ni Santé. Sobrang privilege yun for me na ma-share ko rin yung story ko kasi siguro marami na rin nakakakilala sa akin na bakit ganito ako ka-passionate when it comes to sharing talaga yung testimony na nangyari sa akin. Pero parang na masyado ako na sa diniscuss ni Ma'am Minette. Sabi ko masyado ulit ako nadagdagan na naman yung yung mga information na nakukonect natin because some of our members in here in Santé, yung ibang team member natin is mga medical experts sila. Sila is hindi nila inaral ano yung meron ng barley. Dinala sila dito ng pagkakataon. Kasi even mga kilala or mga matataas ang kaalaman when it comes to conventional medicine at sa larangan ng medisina. Pero dumating yung point na even yung mga dala-dala nilang sakit, yung mga kamag-anak nila na mga mahal nila sa buhay na may sakit, na wala ng cure sa kanila. Sila yung nagpatunay sa amin na more than sa kaalaman nila, meron palang mas pa doon. Sila nga yung nagsabi Sabi ko kasi, one of the doctor, tinanong ko siya. Actually, there are group of pathologists dito. Network din sila, gaya ng sabi ni Ma'am Bing, si Jesus Christ ang first networker. And these doctors din, sila din is mga networker. Kaya, ang pagiging pathologist is also their network. And dumating yung time na sakit ang dumapo sa kanila. Siguro, gaya na sabi ni Ma'am Bing, ako talaga, I always believe na hindi nangyari yung mga bagay na to nang nagkataon. Kaya nga, pagka sinabi natin na all things happens for a reason, mababaw. Kasi hindi natin alam kung ano ba yan. Pero pag nakita natin na all things happens for a wonderful reason, magiging positive tayo di ba? Kasi makikita natin yung dahilan talaga. Hindi pa man ngayon, alam natin, pagdating ng time, makikita natin. Etong mga doctors na to, hindi sila believer ng barley. So I'm sharing not just my story. Etong mga non-believer na nasa larangan ng science, na naging part ng team namin. Nung dinapuan sila ng sakit, wala nang cure and science Sa libro nila, wala nang sagot. So ano yung ginawa nila? They tried the barley. Hanggang napatunayan nila, nung gumaling yung mga anak yung mga pamilya nila, sila mismo na masyado silang na-amaze. Isa sa pathologist doctor na yan, na yung mother niya was diagnosed ng stage 3 cancer sa bituka. At na chemotherapy na siya, pero instead na gumaling, lalong lumala yung mother. So worried na si doctor. Until dumating ang time na nakapag-talk yung isang doctor natin doon sa isang institute na to, malaking institute dito sa atin sa Pilipinas. Doon siya naka-realize na paggamitin niya to. And then, nakakonect siya, it's because Christian yung doctor. So, naniwala siya na siya is nadala dito, it's not because of anything else or yung profession niya, it's not. It's because of her faith. So, basically, healing is all about faith. So, healing is about us. So, yun. Yung doctor na to, tinanong ko to, kung how does the natural killer cells produce? Kasi the word itself, natural, basically, may pinanggagalingan yan. At yun yung based on our emotion, positive emotion, gaya ng mga nung talk ni Dr. Vergara. Napakaganda no, napakaganda. So, etong doctor na to is napunta siya rito because of her faith. Anong nangyari nung yung mga taong halos nawalan na ng pag-asa at hindi naging sagot yung larangan ng science doon sa concern nila when it comes to health? Because of their faith na dinala sila dito at destined sila na makita to kasi kailangan nilang i-share. Hindi pala yung profession nila, kundi yung biyaya ng Diyos. That's why I personally call barley biyaya ng Diyos sa dami ng medical impossibilities na nakita namin. So sabi ng doctor na to, nung tinanong ko siya ng question na yon about natural killer cells, in-explain niya sa akin. Habang nakikita niya na nakakunot ang noo ko, sabi niya gano'n, okay, sige ma'am, eto na lang yan. So simple, sabi niya gano'n. Kahit anong laki naming doktor, kahit anong laki ng mga hospitals at advanced na mga technologies, there is always something beyond, and that is God. Sabi niya gano'n. So sabi ko, talagang great healer yan si God. Siya talaga. So, since siya yung great healer, ipinadala na niya yan bawat isa sa atin. Kaya nga ang healing is hindi lang talaga barley. Pero eto yung maganda. Sabi ko nga, how many times na akong inatake sa puso, pero bakit nag-survive ako? Bakit ang mga cancer patients, ang bilis gumagaling? Kasi sila, once na sinabi mo sa kanilang cancer, yung mismong isipin pa lang na may cancer sila is nakakamatay na. It's because so depressing yun. Talagang parang pag sinabi mo yun, walang cure. Pero bakit ang bibilis nilang gumaling? It's because of hope na nabuhayan sa kanila. So dahil nabuhay ang hope nila, nabuhay yung pag-asa nila at nakita nila na mayroong pandireksyon ng buhay nila, they produce a lot of natural killer cells. Ano ngayon ang ginagawa ni barley? Si barley, since ang body natin is may dalawang nadi-divide sa dalawa yan Nasa topic ni Ma'am Bing yan during science behind barley. So dito, nasa kabilang part natin is the natural killer cells. The other part is yun yung mga masama sa katawan. So again, the world is balance. Lahat ng meron sa mundo, may ka-opposite yan. Pero meron tayong choice paano natin gamitin. So eto yon. Eto na si barley. Ikaw may sakit, paano mo gagamitin ng barley? If you don't believe, o maniniwala ka ba, o may doubt ka ba? So doon mo makikita ngayon yung mabilis gumaling, yung mabagal gumaling, at hindi gumagaling. Okay? Kasi ang ginagawa ng barley, it's because amazing talaga ang kakayanan ng barley. Pero since barley is biyaya ng Diyos, may formula para iniinom ang barley. That is, faith plus barley equals total healing. Dahil ang barley ay instrumento ng Diyos for us to speed up the healing. Walang limit at walang question kung ano hanggang kaya ang gawin niya. Kaya ginawa ni God ang barley. At dahil sa marami pang explanation kanina ni Ma'am Bing, ang daming nabuhay ulit sa akin na mga shinare sa amin ng mga doctors na to. Kung bakit ang green plant is mayroong halos the same molecular structure ng dugo ng tao, which is supposedly, kung pag-iisipan natin, ang mga moving na creation dito is yun yung mga animals, di ba? Kung tatanungin tayo without science basis, yun sa atin lang, opinion. Ano sa tingin natin, ang halos meron the same molecular structure sa atin. Hindi ba dapat ang iisipin natin is dugo ng aso, ay ng mga animals, di ba? Pero bakit yung green plants? And that is the chlorophyll. Tama, si Malu. Chlorophyll yun. At yun yung dugo kasi ng halaman. Na bakit may halos the same molecular structure sa dugo ng tao. Okay. Ang dugo ng tao is dinesign ng Diyos ng ganyan at ang nucleus natin is iron. Samantalang pagkakailangan natin ng iron, kailangan natin ng magnesium. ang mismong center ng magnesium or ng green plants, which is the chlorophyll, is magnesium. So, compatible siya. But even science, sabi ng mga doctors na to, they cannot explain bakit ginawa yan na pareho ng molecular structure natin. The only thing na makakapagpatunay niyan is tayo. So bakit maraming gumagaling? Kasi tayo yung nagpatunay nun, plus dahil nabuhayan tayo ng pag-asa, punong-puno tayo ng pag-asa, maraming nag-function sa katawan natin, plus ang barley is sobrang yaman na meron siya nutrients na taglay, inilagay natin sa katawan natin, pumunta siya sa tamang direksyon ng katawan, which is the other part of the immune system, at nag-produce tayo ng maraming natural killer cells, at yun ang humanap ng mga sakit. Nasa science, ang hirap for us to explain kasi hindi nga tayo nasa medical world. Okay. So since yun na nakita ng science, yun din ang sinasabi ng mga doctor sa atin. Yung mga explanation nila at yung mga pinapaabot nila sa ating research is hindi galing lang sa kaalaman nila. That is based on their experience. Nung napunta sila dito sa Santé, bago nila inaral dahil meron silang naging experience. Like yung hepatitis C na walang cure, cancer patient na mga cancer patients na walang cure and yet nabuhay, yung mga may-ari ng hospital na dapat mamamatay because of hindi nila matrace na klase ng bacteria na pumasok sa katawan, and yet na-deteriorate na yung katawan ng may-ari ng hospital. Isang malaking magagaling na infectious doctors ang nag-examine, walang nangyari. Pero nung pumasok at nag-enter tong doctor na to, sinabi niya lang, take it religiously 3 times a day. On the 3rd day, nag-normalize yung hindi bumababang WBC. Anong sabi ng doctor na to? Nung yung pasyenteng mamamatay, why did you believe in barley? Sabi niya ganon. Sabi niya dun sa may-ari ng ospital, it's because of you, because you're supposed to die. Pero bakit nabaliktad lahat? So basically, ang barley talaga, kapag nabigyan tayo ng pag-asa, nabuhay yung pag-asa natin at yung belief natin na mindset to na talagang may natural healing pa rin at merong kakayanan ang barley kung ano yung gagawin niya sa katawan natin, tayo pa rin na magpapatunay niyan. Kahit anong klaseng sakit pa yan. So barley is biyaya talaga ng Diyos. Nung gumaling ako sa barley, nung gumaling ako sa sakit, gumaling ang mga anak ko sa sakit, and then nag-commit ako, akala ko health lang ng family ko ang madudugtungan. Marami akong what if, hindi ako naniwala. What if ganito? Maraming buhay ang after gumaling ng mga anak ko, ang nagsipaggalingan. What if hindi? 'Di ba? So, sabi ko nga, healing is a commitment, pero yung commitment na yon talagang tayo ang responsible doon sa healing na yon. Yung barley is God's instrument for us to speed up the healing. At yun yung biyayang ibinigay sa atin ng Diyos kung bakit sobra-sobra kaming magkwento when it comes to barley. Kung sabi ko nga yung maraming what if na yon sa buhay ko, what if hindi ko nagawa, 'di ba? Hindi ko pala nakita yung opportunity of a lifetime na nakaabang sa akin. It's because maraming ways na makita natin yung opportunity dito sa paggaling, madugtungan ng maraming buhay, and yet gumanda rin yung ating mga buhay. At yan yung pinagpapasalamat ko sa Diyos at kay Santé kung bakit ako nandito. Kaya I will forever be grateful sa Kanya, kay Lord, at saka syempre sa Santé. Nakita ko ang Santé talaga in my vision nung napunta ako dito, na sabi ko, gagawin ko to forever para as tanaw, para na nadugtungan yung buhay ko, yung mga anak ko, para din sa marami pang taong madudugtungan pa ang mga buhay.
Wow, thank you. Thank you, Miss Vivian, for your story.
Thank
So
you.
thank you. No, alam ko na maraming story, maraming testimonials about our product. Kaya nga nabanggit, di ba kanina, that the grass is as food and as medicine. That will be my topic for next. So, di ba? As food and medicine. Thank you, Ate Minette. Dun sa history, thank you, Miss Vivian, for your
Thank you, Ma'am Bing. Thank you, Santé.
Yes, for the wonderful testimonies. No, sabi ko nga, this talk for tonight will really very, very short because I wanted you to hear the story coming from one of the board of directors, no, na history talaga ito, na yung nangyayari sa atin, napakaganda. Huwag tayong mag-atubili, huwag tayong mahiya to share the products, to share the business. Kasi again, you are here, we are here for a purpose. Thank you again very much, Ate Minette, for sharing and giving us a very nice learnings about the barley, its history, the spiritual roots of barley. And thank you very much, Miss Vivian, for sharing your testimonies. Okay, so maraming salamat for attending for tonight. Pero syempre, hindi naman matatapos ang gabing ito without sharing the training schedule kasi talagang kaming sa Engage ay walang humpay from Monday to Friday to Saturday. We will give you all the trainings na gusto naming ibigay sa inyo because again, we make learning as a passion. Ito na talaga yung gustong-gusto naming gawin na parang lang kay Miss Bing, paulit-ulitin mo man yan, imagine mo, sabi ko nga, I've been with Santé for 7 years and 7 years na akong nagdadaldal about the products but hindi ako napapagod because this is already my passion to talk about the products, to share with you kung ano yung gusto yung kailangan ninyong matutunan from us. So I would like to take the opportunity for tomorrow, the training schedule for February 12. Okay, February 12 tomorrow. We have the business presentation by the Rev. Okay, so speaker natin, Joey Messina, Steph Garate. Di ba merong commercial. Clifford Monter, Elaine Panopio, and Isa Ariola. And for February 19, Dancel Malu, Yana Estrada, Jeru Basilio, Gerson Gallego. And February 26, Erica Santos, Emma Naag, Jessie Rapote, Dage Dequito, and Leslie Icalia. So that will be the schedule for tomorrow. The Santé Rev, pag Friday, alam naman nyo, pag Monday, we have the business presentation, Tuesday is business orientations, nakalatag na po. In fact, ang March namin, ginagawa na namin ng schedule. Nag-follow up na si Miss Chi sa amin kanina, yung schedule for March, diba? So, we really plan ahead kasi alam natin it really pays to plan. No? So, that will be the schedule for the whole month of February. So, binabanggit lang namin ulit. Okay, so February 12, SST by JP Marcelo, and February 19, UCP, next Friday yan, si Ian, no? Understanding your compensation plan. Okay? And alam naman natin pag Saturday, weekend reruns tayo. Okay? So, yun lang yung aking schedule na gusto namin ulit-ulitin because every time we do our trainings, pinapromote talaga namin yan. At maraming in store sa atin si Santé, no? Maraming salamat again. Ate Minette, maraming salamat talaga for your time, for your knowledge, for your wisdom, and of course, for your opening your heart to us by sharing your story. So again, good evening at syempre hindi natin i-end ito nang wala tayong picture with Ate Minette. Open your cameras. Thank you lahat ng leaders, Unstoppables, Archie, Randy, thank you. Thank you, Sir Paul. Thank you for the NetDev. Talaga sa NetDev Engage team, marketing for always working with us. Maraming salamat at pwede nyo naman ulitin ito. Maganda inuulit talaga. And ma'am, I will get the email note for the presentation.
Yes.
Okay? Take picture. Sheila, nandun ka ba? Biglang gano'n. Baka na magpipicture. 1, 2, smile. Okay, so next page. Okay, open your cameras. 1, 2, smile. We have 10 pages. 3. Okay, so ang email ba nung akin? Ano po? Another learning support page. 5. Kami. Sige. Thank you. 7. 8. Next page. 9. Thank you. Okay? Thank you. Okay, so nandun na tayo lahat. Okay? So tomorrow, Chinese New Year, kung may Pak Choy. And on Sunday, Happy Valentine's Day lahat. Mahal na mahal namin kayo. Maraming salamat.
Thank you po.
Thank you. Open na ba lahat na?
Thank you, Mami Ned.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
God bless everyone.
Thank you, Ma'am.
Thank you, Miss B.
Thank you, Ate Minette.
Thank you, everyone. You're welcome.
Thank you, Vivian. Thank you, Vivian.
Thank you, Mami Paul. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Bye-bye po.
Thank you, Ma'am Vivian.
Thank
Thank
you
po. Maraming thank you, Ma'am.